Hi there, and welcome to another episode of View from the Other Side. Today I'm back in my living room because I'm not disturbing Danny to do the set and the background and the esoteric look for me. You know why I don't want to bug him? Because he's working on building the sanctuary. He's upgrading all the software inside the sanctuary in preparation for our relaunch when we're ready to take in new members again. And the relaunch is going to be on February the 2nd, which is going to be 02/02/2022, all twos. And the significance of that date also is that February the 2nd is the day that I had my near-death experience in 2006. And this year it's like 02/02/2022. So that's the date of the relaunch of the sanctuary. So please, if you've been waiting to join, it's going to be ready on that date. Sorry to keep you all waiting. But more importantly, today's topic is called death sentence or wake-up call. So what do I mean about that, death sentence or wake-up call? Very often when we get diagnosed with something by a doctor, anything from cancer, heart attack, or nowadays even COVID, immediately the first thing that people think of is, oh my God, is this a death sentence? So I'm going back to when I was diagnosed back in 2002. That was the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, is this a death sentence? And I watched people around me die from cancer. And so I really took that in. I took it to heart that there, and one of the things that I don't like, which annoys me, is the way that there seems to be this common belief that there is no cure for cancer. And the fact that you keep hearing people say, oh, I'm going to find the cure for cancer, or we need more money to fund research to find the cure for cancer. What it does is that it's all the time, it's planting the suggestion in your mind that there is no cure for cancer. So here you are hearing all the time, there's no cure for cancer, there's no cure for cancer. And then when you get a diagnosis of cancer, what's that going to do? Of course it's going to blow your mind and you're going to think, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. Of course it does. So first of all, it's not true that there is no cure for cancer. Just because there is no pharmaceutical drug that purports to directly have a 100% chance of curing cancer, it does not mean there is no way to heal cancer. There are tons of ways. I was at my deathbed in 2006 and I'm still here and I'm vibrant, healthy. I'm fine. Put it this way, I've been fine. I've been more than fine. So there are so many ways to heal cancer, and I know there are many ways to heal all kinds of other illnesses. So when you get a diagnosis, and what I suggest is if you get a diagnosis where somebody tells you, where a medical doctor tells you something really scary, and if you see your mind, if you feel your mind going towards, oh my gosh, am I going to die? I would like you to shift that thought to think in terms of, no, maybe this is a wake-up call for me to change my life, because that's the way I would look at it. So let me take you back to my experience. I believed I was going to die. I believed there was no cure for cancer. I watched people die from cancer, and they had the best treatment that money can possibly buy, and yet they still crossed over. When I reached the end of my life and I had my near-death experience, it was at the point in my life where I weighed 85 pounds. For those of you who know my story, I weighed 85 pounds. My lungs were filled with fluid. I couldn't walk. I had tumors the size of golf balls from the base of my skull all over my body, all around my neck, under my arms, and in my chest and in my abdomen. And I was at death's door. In fact, I crossed the doorway into death. The doctors told my family that I was not coming back and that my organs had now shut down. In that near-death experience state, I realized that our lives are much more in our hands and in our control than we have been led to believe. One of the myths that we have been led to believe is that we are a victim of our circumstances, whether it's a victim of our illnesses and whatever other circumstances. Now, I understand that when you're a child, you can't control your circumstances. But as an adult, you have much more control than you have been led to believe. You are not a victim of the ailments of your body. So what I realized when I was in that state on the other side, I understood how all the thoughts and decisions and choices I had made in my life had led me to being at that point in the hospital bed dying. And so that's when I realized that in fact I had basically done it to myself. But this is not to say that I want to blame the victim. If you are going through an illness, you did not do it deliberately, but yet I understood that if I chose to come back into my physical body, I now knew what it was that caused me to be sick, which is why I keep sharing what I share. So the first thing I realized is that I am not a victim of my body and that I have a choice in this matter. I have a huge choice. So I was given a choice as to whether to come back or not. Now, I want to say here that I know that you may have lost loved ones and you're thinking, oh, why weren't they given a choice? So a couple of things here. One is, you know, there is a time when we do reach the end of our lives. And if you reach the end of your life, then you cross over. That is maybe the amount of time you agreed to be here before you even came to this life. You may have already decided you're only going to be here for a certain length of time. But also, there are people who get to a point in their lives where they are tired. They may choose to leave early, but they may believe that they can do more good from the other side than this side. So I believe, for example, that Wayne Dyer was one of them, that he believed by that point he could do more from the other side. Two of the people who I saw dying from cancer, who I felt were getting the best treatment that money could possibly buy, and they still succumbed. When I was on the other side, I wanted to know, like, why did they stay there? It seemed like they went before their time. I got the distinct message from both of them that they were both very, very tired of their life circumstances and honestly felt that they could do more from the other side than they could from this side. In my case, I was actually being shown that I could do more by coming back. But I didn't want to come back because my physical body was dying. And then I realized, now that I know why and how I got ill, my body will heal. And I will have the tools to help my body along the way. So what are some of the things? And that's what I wanted to share with you, so that you don't get scared if you get something that sounds like a death sentence. So number one is to be aware. It's to be aware that you have more autonomy and power over your body than you think and than you have been led to believe. Number two is to ask yourself, so this is if you are dealing with a physical and health challenge. So number two is to ask yourself, do I want to live? So if you're somebody who's saying, oh my God, I want to die, this illness is so hard, ask yourself, do I really want to live? And if so, what is the life I want? What do I want to look forward to ahead of me? Because in most cases, the reason you're going through your illness is because of the life that you have led up until now. That life is not working for you. It's not serving you. And that's why your body is slowly breaking down. That's what it was for me. My body was breaking down because the life I was living was not serving me. So while you're dealing with the illness, it's really important for you to look at your life and to ask yourself, if I get a clean bill of health tomorrow, then what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Do I want to go back and live the life I was living that caused me to get sick in the first place? You don't want to do that. And if you want to go back and live the life that makes you miserable and that caused you to be sick in the first place, then you have no incentive to get well. So while you're dealing with the physical challenge, the important thing, and this is number 3, if you want to live, if the answer is yes, I want to live, number 3 is while you're dealing with the physical condition and doing what you can in the physical way of whether you're doing alternative complementary therapies or conventional or whatever it is you're doing physically, the important thing, the third thing, is to start creating and building the life you want to live as a healthy person. That is super important. Start creating and building that life so you can look forward to that life. Start living as though you are that healthy person who is now going to live that healthy life. Start taking the steps to move forward to live that healthy life. And you just have to do one thing each day towards creating that life that you want to live. Here's the other thing I want you to realize. Most physical challenges fall into 3 categories. Number one would be injury. Injury could be anything like repetitive stress syndrome, actually having a fall, like a blunt injury, a fall, anything like that. So these cause physical trauma, and you could be healing from those. So that's one category. The second category is toxic overload. Toxic overload could be from anything from foods that don't agree with you, preservatives, chemicals, anything like that. Your body could be going through a toxic overload. And the third one is stress-induced illnesses. Now, stress-induced illnesses comes from all kinds of things like emotional stress, comes from suffering from maybe a loss recently, loneliness, trauma, too many things going on at once, having too much stimulation, lots of moves or lack of finances. So all of these are stress related, and when you bombard your stress system, your adrenals, and you bombard your stress response system, and your body can get depleted, and that can also induce an illness. So these are basically how I see the 3 categories. And then I could say there's a 4th category, which is end of life. You could be at a point where you are ready to cross over. And so your body starts to break down and to get you ready to cross over. Sometimes because you really want to cross over and you're ready and you're tired, your body will actually manifest an illness so that you will use that illness to transition over. So that's the 4th thing. So the main thing is, if your body is ready to cross over, that's actually fine. That's really fine. And I really don't agree when people say that so-and-so have lost their battle to their illness because they crossed over. Maybe they didn't lose the battle. Maybe they won. Maybe crossing over is, the people who won are the ones who crossed over. But the main thing is you have to decide that if you feel that it's not your time to cross over, and you choose to take whatever challenge you have as a wake-up call, it's never, ever, ever too late to turn it around. That's the main thing that I want to remind you of. It's never too late to turn it around. Because look at me. The doctors told my family that it was too late. I had crossed the doorway into death, and I turned it around. So as long as you have a heartbeat, you can turn it around. It doesn't matter how serious it is. If you are dealing with physical injury type of thing, there are a lot of things that you can do to alleviate a lot of the symptoms and a lot of the pain, so that you can still continue to lead a very inspiring and productive and spiritual life. The other thing I want to remind you is that you have this connection to the other side. Don't forget to keep connecting to that side. When you can alleviate stress, when you can get out in nature, and when you can release stress, your mind, your energy field becomes clearer to receive messages from the other side. That's where you can get your inspiration. That is where you will get your message to tell you that, no, it's not your time. Yes, there are ways you can change your life so that you can heal. Remember, one of the keys to healing is having a life that you look forward to living. You're passionate about life, having something you're excited, a life that you're excited to live. It's incredible. That is actually, to me, one of the key determining factors of the quality of your health. I have heard too many stories from people who tell me they've been diagnosed with this illness, which they've now taken as a death sentence because the doctors say it's cancer. The whole medical paradigm says we're still looking for a cure for cancer. But the minute you talk to these people, you realize that they will say things like, my life was really meaningless. I was dreading going home every day because my husband had left me and I was feeling really lonely, or my spouse had passed away, or, and they're sharing these stories. And I'm like, of course you got ill. Of course you got ill. When I came out from the other side, I wanted to shout from the rooftops what I had learned. And I'll tell you the truth, deep down inside, I felt as excited as if I had found the cure for cancer. That's what it felt like for me. And I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. But I realized that this world we live in, this cultural paradigm we live in, is not, most people are not ready to hear that. Most people are not ready to hear that the cure for cancer actually lies within. You can get a lot of help from the outside, because because something that also overloads your system is like toxic overload from eating a lot of chemically laden products. That's one of the things that contributes. But it's not always just one thing. Sometimes if you have an overload of stress, as well as eating junk food, because stress, loneliness can cause you to not care about what you're putting in your body. And so all this adds up, and then your body starts to break down. So the key, really, to getting passionate about your life and to eating things and doing things that are conducive to you being passionate about your life is to love yourself. So important to love yourself. And it's so important to connect with the other side and to remind yourself that you are a soul. You are a soul with a purpose, and your soul has a journey. And when I came back from the other side, my body healed very, very quickly, because I knew I was a soul. I knew I had a purpose. I knew I was loved just because I existed. And there was nothing in this life that I dreaded coming back to. It felt like I was just blessed to get a second chance. And I share my story because I want that for you. And one other thing that I wanted to leave you with is I want you to start thinking about what health looks like to you. What does it mean to be healthy? Physically healthy, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy, emotionally healthy. What does it mean? The problem with our paradigm is that we are very much illness focused and sickness focused. Our healthcare system is not a healthcare system. It's a sickness scare system. The focus is on sickness and looking for sickness. And so because of this, nobody talks about what it looks like to be healthy, what it feels like. And I mean healthy in every way. We very rarely have role models or people actually speaking out and teaching you how to be healthy. When you go for healthcare, all they do is look for sickness. And they say, okay, you don't have this, you don't have this. Okay, off you go, you're healthy. But you could be depressed, sad, you could be at the brink of the onset of something, but nobody cares, nobody teaches you how to be healthy. It is so undervalued in our culture. I would love for us to see actually people inspiring others, teaching others how to be healthy from the time when we're really young, like at school. What does it mean to be emotionally, mentally, physically healthy? What does your life look like when it's healthy? What does your life look like to maintain health? What are the tools? These are the conversations we need to have. And that's kind of what I wanted to leave you with, so that we can make a shift in our paradigm. Because as I mentioned when I started sharing my story, most of our culture wasn't ready to hear it because we are so illness focused and pharmaceutical focused that what I said sounded a little bit out there and woo-woo. But let me tell you, every single person I talk to who is dealing with an illness, and when I talk to them about what happened prior to their illness, there's always something. There's always something. Before I go, I just wanted to say I'm super excited that my book, Dying to Be Me, has been published for coming up to 10 years. Can you believe it? So we are relaunching a 10th anniversary edition with bonus content. There's a bonus chapter where I speak about signs and synchronicities, and I speak about spirit connection and about being sensitive and about being an empath. So please look out for it. I'm really excited about this relaunch. And if you liked this video and you want more content like this, please support me by clicking like, subscribe, love, whatever, depending on what platform you're viewing it on. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.